Hey everyone, welcome back to Buzztober. We are on day 18. Like, holy cow. And if you've made it this far and have been liking it so far, props to you. And thank you so much if you are still here. I am so happy that you're here. You are always welcome. Anyone and everyone is always welcome here. Today, I'm actually gonna do one of those no sleep horror fiction stories that were written in by someone. I read this one a long time ago. I don't think I've read it on a past year for Buzztober. If I have, you probably aren't gonna remember anyway, and you probably didn't listen to it like 3 years ago or whatever. So I don't know why. This one, for some reason, there's like certain ones that just like really stick with me, and this one, I think about it sometimes, and it's, again, it's a, you know, it's not a true story, but like it could be true, you never know. And I'm sure someone out there in this wild universe that we live in has had something like this happen to them before. So it is, so once again, this is a no sleep story. So this is like horror fan fiction that people write in, and man, there are some good ones out there. I've actually written in a couple before, and I actually did one every year so I've only done it twice. But I wrote in 2 different of my own stories, again, completely fiction to no sleep, so I could do them during past Buzztobers. I don't know if I'll get around to it this year, so sorry if that's the case. But anyway, so today I am drinking the exact same drink I was drinking yesterday because it just hit the spot. So if you didn't listen yesterday, this is a mango pineapple margarita. So let's take a quick sip. Also, if you are under the legal drinking age of whatever country you live in, don't drink. We do not condone that in this spooky house. And never drink and drive. Don't be an idiot. Don't ruin someone else's life because you were too lazy to call an Uber. I don't care if that sounds harsh. It is harsh, babe. So additionally, I'm wearing this sweatshirt that I got from Etsy, I think. I just thought it was kind of cute. Like, I don't know if it's like the most flattering color on me or whatever. And it also, like, I hate the sweatshirts or the crew necks or whatever that like are tucked in at the bottom. It's just like not flattering. Like, who's this flattering on? I don't know. I just want it to be like not tight anywhere. That's why it's like a big baggy sweatshirt. So if it looks weird, I'm sorry. Don't tell me about it. But anyway, it's still really cute though, because it has this little like skeleton, because you guys know I love them, you know, juggling these little jack-o'-lanterns. So 'tis the spooky season. Oh, this actually really works for the story I'm reading today, because this one is entitled "Thank You for Visiting Jack in the Box," and this was written in by user Don't Worry About It. Chili cheese fries. Shut up. Chili cheese fries. Like 3 milkshakes. Shut the fuck up, you already ordered. I wrote it down before I pulled up. Now let me fucking order. Nobody likes being the DD, and nothing makes the position of a DD worse than when your load of drunken friends insists on going to Jack in the Box. When they finally calmed down, I rolled down my window to find that the woman on the other end was in the middle of a sentence. "In the box, how may I help you?" "Hi, welcome to Jack in the Box, how may I help you?" It wasn't enough to make me suspicious at the moment. She was probably just a tired employee who didn't have the patience to watch the security footage, to see when my window would roll down, and instead decided to repeat the opening line over and over again. "Yeah, can I get a, 'Hi, welcome to Jack'?" That one threw me off a little bit more. It was odd, but I just cut her off impatiently. "Yes, hi." "Oh," there was a moment of static. "Hi. Hi, can I get a," I ordered. No point in enumerating every last thing. It was a lot of greasy food for a lot of drunk college students. When I had finished, the response was simply, "Is that all?" The female voice was small and frail, and sounded scared and slightly breathless. I paused. I was starting to get nervous. There were no other cars in the CVS parking lot. There weren't even any kids loitering around the 7-Eleven, which was usually common at that time of night on a Friday. The lights were all functional though, and there were cars going by on Abbott Avenue, right before the low lining of bushes at the edge of the lot. I tried to feel relieved. It was 2 in the morning, and I was dealing with a timid, odd night owl employee. "Come to the first window." This time the voice was much stronger. It was full-bodied and professional. It was shocking in a way that I didn't really understand. But I pulled forward, just as my friend Sandra reached forward and twisted the volume of the electronic song playing off of Ethan's iPod. I sighed. When I stopped at the first window, I was greeted by a charming blonde face. She smiled through the closed window before pulling it open briskly and announcing in the same confident voice, "2345, hon." I handed her my credit card, and she took it, turning away from me to run it. I fell into the drunken interactions that were going on in the car at that moment, asking Ethan to see if Sean was still breathing, telling Taylor to stop singing loudly and crudely. I forgot all about the window for a long moment before I realized that I was probably being rude. When I turned back, the woman was still turned around. "Ma'am?" When she turned back, her skin had gone ghostly white. She was visibly shaking and her teeth seemed to be chattering. She was scratching something just behind her right ear, out of my view vigorously. Her huge blue eyes were open wide, communicating what I can best describe was shock. Despite the fact that she was shaking though, when she brought her arm up, it was steady. She handed me the credit card and receipt, leaning forward to do it. Her face was closer to mine than a fast food cashier's had ever been. And when she smiled, I recoiled. It was sudden, mechanical, and without a doubt the falsest smile I had ever seen. It looked like her mouth had been simply stretched to give the illusion of a smile. She spoke in that tiny, scared voice. "Drive through to the second window, please." I had to say something at that moment. "Are you okay?" She leaned back into the restaurant, still wearing that smile, and closed the window, but she didn't stop staring at me. The shaking subsided. The smile did not. The second window was closed. I pulled out my phone and checked Facebook, trying to get my mind off of the noise in the car. I was used to Jack in the Box taking like 2 minutes, and when 3 went by, I started to wonder. When 7 went by, Ethan got out of the car and walked over to the window, knocking on it and screaming for food. When she finally came to the window, I got out of the car and pulled Ethan away from the window. When I realized it was the same woman, I froze for a moment. It was never the same woman. Either it was 2 different people or they just closed the first window. It was an inefficient way to run a fast food place, and it just wasn't done. Ethan wandered back into the car as she opened the window. She stuck out 2 bags, and I took them. She wasn't shaking anymore. She looked calm except for her vacant expression. She was looking right through me. "Are you okay, ma'am?" I noticed at that moment that I couldn't hear any sound coming from inside the restaurant. You can always hear the clanging of the kitchen, no matter when you visit Jack in the Box. But all I heard was the rumbling of my idling engine. Suddenly, the woman's eyes snapped to mine, and once again, they got big, despite the fact that her expression remained composed. Her upper lip trembled for a moment. "Ma'am?" Just then, I saw headlights in my rearview mirror pull into the drive-thru. When I looked back, the woman was staring intently at the headlights, before her head snapped right back to me. She scratched behind her ear again, and I noticed for the first time that her thumbnail was missing. There was nothing but blackened, rotting nail bed. Ugh. And then she dropped her hand, and her expression molded into one of courtesy and service. She smiled that same dead smile. "Thank you for visiting Jack in the Box." She slammed the window shut. My friends ate everything in the car, moaning with pleasure with every ketchup-covered fry and jalapeno popper. When we got home, everyone managed to stumble inside. Ethan was carrying the last bag, eating the occasional stray fry out of the bottom. I went to bed without so much as a word. The next morning, I noticed Ethan had dropped the bag in the hallway. I begrudgingly picked it up and was about to throw it in the trash when the receipt fell out, along with a few ketchup packets. I hadn't read it, but who does? I just shoved it in the bag. But when I picked it up, I realized that 3 words had been scrawled on the back in barely legible, shaking scrawl. "Don't eat it." I love that story for some reason. I just love it. So that was actually quicker than I thought it was gonna be. So since you guys are tuning in right now, I figured, who says that? I've literally never said anything like that in my life. Okay, this one I have not read. That previous one I had read before, but I love it. I hope you did too. But this next one, okay, yeah, this next one's kind of short. So if I have time, I'll do 3, but let's get through this one first and decide. So this one was written in by Pros40745. My roommate and his Cat in the Hat costume. Ooh, it was the 1st of November and he was still wearing it. Our party was on the 29th of October, and it was funny then. Hell, even on the 30th, it still made me laugh when I saw him occasionally creep out of his room to stock up on snacks from the kitchen. When I left the house for my 9 a.m. class on the 31st, and he was sitting in the kitchen with his Cat in the Hat costume still on, well, then I began to worry. John was quiet at the best of times, not too many friends, and I wasn't a stranger to sitting in silence at mealtimes. This was different though. His unnerving smile was all I could really see of his face beneath the prosthetics and makeup. It didn't help that it was a shitty homemade costume either. Visibly stitching and discolored tufts of fur made it all the creepier. Ooh, yeah, that's creepy. Ooh. Our other flatmate had dropped out at the start of the semester, so it was just John and I for a long time. He wasn't an inherently weird guy before. Quiet, yes, but friendly enough. Don't you have class to go to? I asked as I left for work on the 2nd. He silently shook his head, not looking up from the book he was reading. Starting to get real fucking creepy around here, man, I muttered loud enough for him to hear as I shut the door behind me. I like it, I heard John bark with venom from the driveway. It was the night of the 3rd when I finally cracked and phoned his sister. The white patches of the suit were beginning to yellow, and there was an awful stench permeating around the house. She thought I was kidding at first, but after I explained in detail what had been going on the last few days, she went quiet. She assured me that he had been texting her regularly as he usually did, but had never mentioned the costume. I'd known the guy for a little over a year by that point, but I really didn't know that much about him. His sister told me that he'd been obsessed with Cat in the Hat ever since he had seen the movie in the cinema when he was 8 or 9, but grew out of that phase pretty quickly. She assured me that she'd phone him and get to the bottom of whatever the hell was going on. It was the smell that woke me up. That's how pungent it was. Don't meddle in my affairs, John said, standing in the doorway with a dim light behind him, which partially illuminated the fucking costume. What the hell? Get out of here, you freak, I shouted in a panicked daze. Don't meddle with my affairs, he said again. His tone was calm, but there was a definite aggression behind it. He lingered there for a few more seconds, a silent tension between us. It was one of the few times in my life I'd ever felt genuine terror as I gazed at the horrendous cat costume and my roommate beneath it. The next day, I was going through my options in my head. My other friends had recommended calling the cops, and that John was in need of some serious help. I didn't want to get him into some kind of trouble, though. My choice was made for me when 2 police detectives pulled me out of the lecture. They sat me down in the cafeteria with stern looks upon their faces. My first thought was that John had killed himself. I didn't know why, but that made the most sense to me. I was dead wrong. Why didn't you report that he was missing? Did you not find it odd for him not to come? One quizzed me. He isn't missing. He should be there right now, probably still wearing that stupid costume. A dog walker had discovered John's naked body in the bushes not far from my house. The police reckoned he'd been dead since the night of the 29th. They never found anyone in the house during their search. Only the tattered costume, which had been neatly folded on top of my bed. That's a good one. Oh, that scared me. That was really good. Holy cow. Oh, that was scary as hell. Dang. Sorry, John. Once again, these are false. These aren't real like some of the other stories I've read in other episodes. I don't know if you guys know what this is, but there's also another site called Creepypasta. And Creepypasta is just like NoSleep Reddit, and basically people write in horror fan fiction or whatever. So this one, it's entitled Eyeless Jack. Let me see who the writer is. Sorry, the website's like a little bit different. I don't have an author. Maybe at the end. I'll tell it at the end if I can find it. All right, this one's entitled Eyeless Jack. Hello, my name is Mitch. I'm here to tell you guys about an experience I had. I don't know if it was paranormal or whatever the stupid words people use to describe supernatural phenomena, but after that thing visited me, I believe in the paranormal trash now. A week after I moved in with my brother Edwin, after my house was foreclosed, I finished unpacking. Edwin liked the idea of me moving in, since we had not seen each other for 10 years, so I was excited too. I soon fell asleep after I moved in. After that first week, I heard rustling noises coming from outside at about 1 a.m. I thought it was a raccoon, so I ignored it and tried to fall asleep. The next morning, I had told Edwin about it, and he agreed. The next night, however, I thought I heard my window opening and a loud thump, as if something entered my room. I darted up and looked around my room, but I saw nothing. The next morning, Edwin dropped his coffee cup when he saw me. He held up a nearby mirror, and I saw myself. I had a large gash in my left cheek. After I was rushed to the hospital, my doctor told me that I must have been sleepwalking. But then he showed me something that made my blood turn cold. He lifted up my shirt to reveal a sewn-up incision where my kidneys were. I stared into his eyes, mine widening. You somehow lost your left kidney last night, my doctor told me. We don't know how though. Sorry, Mitch. What is this story? Oh my God. The next night was my breaking point. Around midnight, I woke up to see a truly horrifying sight. I was staring face to face with a creature with a black hoodie and dark blue mask, with no nose or mouth, staring down at me. The thing that scared me the most was that it had no eyes, just empty black sockets. The creature also had some sort of black substance dripping from its sockets. I grabbed a camera from the nearby mantle and took a picture. Immediately after taking the shot, the creature lunged at me and tried to claw open my chest to get to my lungs. I stopped it by kicking it in the face. As I ran out of my room, I grabbed my wallet. I would need the money. I ran out of my brother's house into the night. I eventually ended up in the woods near Edwin's house and tripped on a rock. I fell unconscious and woke up in the hospital. My doctor, the same one who treated me before, entered the room. I have good news and bad news, Mitch, my doctor started. The good news is that you had a minor injury and your parents are going to pick you up. I sighed with relief. The bad news is that your brother has been killed by someone. Thing. Sorry. Oh, okay. Who is this doctor that's talking to him like this? My parents took me back to Edwin's house to collect my remaining belongings, which I did. Upon entering the room, I was scared, but remained calm. I grabbed my camera and then stopped dead in my tracks. In the hallway leading to my room, I saw Edwin's body and something small lying next to it. I retrieved it up and entered my parents' car, not mentioning Edwin's corpse. I looked at the thing I had picked up and nearly vomited. I was holding my stolen half-eaten kidney with some black substance on it. Blech! Nasty! You guys are crazy coming up with this stuff. My goodness. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap us up there. Oh my God, if you just heard that, I'm so sorry. That was my dryer going off. I didn't mean to do a jump scare. That. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in to day 18 of Buzztober. Thank you so, so much. If you are loving these, please go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel and click on that notification bell so you can get notified anytime I upload a new episode. And don't worry, I have, where are we at? I'm not good with math. 31 minus 18. 31 minus 10 is 21, minus another 10 is 11, plus 2 is 13. 13 episodes left. Is that math right? Someone double check that for me. Okay. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Cheers to you. Stay buzzed and stay spooky. See you tomorrow.